The Water Margin, Chapter 27.
Okay, let's just dive right in. I want you to picture a scene. I mean, it's so dramatic. It sounds like it's been ripped right out of a play. You have this hero, a famous warrior, who's just carried out this incredibly bloody and precise act of vengeance, a double homicide. And he did it to avenge his brother. But instead of, running for the hills or disappearing, he does something completely different. He walks straight into the local courthouse.
And he's not just walking in empty-handed. He's carrying the two severed heads of his victims, his sister-in-law and her lover, Shimin King.
Yeah.
He's got the murder weapon. He's even got a co-conspirator he captured.
Wow.
This is the moment he surrenders, and it's the real start of Wu Song's journey through the justice system.
We want to trace the legal fallout from this act of, let's call it, righteous vengeance. Because this isn't just about a verdict. It's about watching an entire system from the local county official all the way up to the Ministry of Justice, how it bends, how it manipulates the law to serve what the public feels is morally right.
Exactly. And for Wu Song, you have to understand, this whole legal process isn't something to be feared. It's actually the final step of his revenge. It's how he closes the book on his brother's murder.
He's so methodical about it. Before he even goes to the court, he doesn't leave any loose ends. He gets 4 of his neighbors together, and he asks them to basically sell off all his stuff to raise money for what the source calls his court expenses. I mean, he knows it's going to be an expensive process.
He's literally preparing for the financial reality of his own trial. He's so clear-eyed about it. He burns his brother's spirit tablet, all the paper money. He's finishing his duties as a brother. And only then, when all that is done, does he present himself, the prisoner Wang Pa, the knife, and those 2 heads to the magistrate.
Yeah.
He gets it. Justice, even the righteous kind, has a price tag and a whole lot of bureaucracy.
So he arrives at the courthouse. What's the immediate reaction?
Well, the text says the magistrate is just shocked, utterly haran. I mean, you can imagine this is not your everyday crime.
No.
But despite the shock, he follows a procedure. He gets testimony from Wu Song, from the prisoner Wang Pa, from the neighbors who helped.
Right, people like He Jishu and Yunga.
Exactly.
Okay.
The initial steps are all very forensic, very by the book.
Okay.
They go inspect the bodies, one at Purple Stone Street, the other at Lime Bridge. They gather all the facts. And look, the evidence points to one thing: clear, premeditated double homicide.
But that's where it all starts to turn, right? This is where the official, the guy who's supposed to enforce the law, decides that maybe the facts aren't the most important thing here.
That's the pivot. He decides the feeling of the community matters more.
So what is that feeling? What gives him the authority to just override what the law clearly says is a capital crime?
He sees Wu Song as a righteous, brave man in a Yiki Lihan. And in this society, the moral duty to avenge your family, especially for something as awful as adultery and poisoning.
It's huge.
It's huge.
Yeah.
It often just completely outweighs the state's law against killing. The magistrate knows that if he prosecutes Wu Song to the full extent of the law, he's probably going to have a riot on his hands. The public is already on Wu Song's side.
So it's a political move. He's making a calculation, but he's disguising it as a legal adjustment. This is where they actually start rewriting the official record.
Precisely. The magistrate tells his scribe to rewrite the charges, not just tweak them, rewrite them. The original facts were simple. Wu Song killed his sister-in-law, then he hunted down and killed Shimin King. It's cold-blooded.
Okay, so how do you spin that? How do you rewrite a double murder to make it a lesser crime? That feels like a stretch.
You change the intent. You change it from vengeance to a mix of self-defense and defending a sacred ritual. For his sister-in-law's death, the news story is that she tried to block Wu Song's memorial service for his brother.
Oh.
So a scuffle broke out. Wu Song was just trying to save the spirit tablet. And her death, that was just an accident, collateral damage while he was defending this sacred duty. It's no longer a planned killing.
That is brilliant. Using the moral weight of ancestor worship to cover for a homicide. But what about Shimin King? He was killed somewhere else entirely.
Similar trick. The report says Shimin King showed up and was strongly protecting the woman, which means he was getting in the way of Wu Song's duty to his brother's spirit. So the fight that followed in Shimin King's death becomes something like manslaughter. It's justifiable almost because it happened during a struggle where Wu Song was just defending himself and his duty. It's genius, really. It turns premeditated revenge into a series of reactive, almost noble acts.
And the public buys it completely.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
The community support is overwhelming. The source tells us that the rich families, the Shanggu Ziji, they immediately start donating silver, wine, food, everything to support Wu Song while he's in jail.
So the people with the real power in town are basically voting with their wallets. They're saying the written law doesn't matter as much as this idea of righteousness, of you.
It's a profound statement. And Wu Song himself, he uses some of this new money to reward the people who helped him. He gives a huge chunk of silver to Yunge's father for his help gathering the evidence. The whole community is investing in him as their hero.
But okay, a local magistrate can only do so much, especially with two bodies, and a story that's been, let's be honest, completely fabricated. This has to go higher up, right?
Exactly. The case is too serious. So Wu Song and Wang Po, they're put in these long shackles, Changji, and the whole case evidence, testimonies, everything is sent up to Dongping Prefecture.
And this is where we meet a new official, Prefect Chen Wenzhao. The text really praises this guy, right? Upright, virtuous, good at his job.
Yeah, he's presented as a model official. He sees what's going on immediately. He knows this isn't just some criminal case, it's a political hot potato.
Yeah.
And he signals his intentions right away by how he treats the two prisoners.
Let's focus on that because the details are so important. What does he do for Wu Song?
The first thing he does is change Wu Song's heavy shackles to the light crime ones, the King's Jia. That's a huge symbolic move. And then he makes sure Wu Song is treated well in prison. The guards, instead of demanding bribes, are actually giving him food and drink. That tells you everything. The order came from the top.
And for Wang Po, the woman who helped set everything up,
The complete opposite. Her shackles are switched to the heavy death row type, the Zongqi Jia, and she's thrown straight into the death row cell. The prefect's message couldn't be clearer. Wu Song is a hero who deserves comfort, and Wang Po is a social menace who deserves to die.
So the judicial process here, it's not even pretending to find facts, it's just confirming a moral judgment. But the prefect can't just decide this on his own, can he? The case still has to go to the capital.
Right, that's the real challenge.
Yeah.
The final verdict for a crime this serious has to come from the Ministry of Justice, the Xinbu. And if they read the file and see through the fabricated story...
They could overrule him, they could order Wu Song's execution.
Exactly. So he takes this huge political risk. First, he polishes the case files, building on the local magistrate's work. Then he sends his most trusted guy on a secret mission to the capital, carrying what the text calls a tight, critical, secret letter. This is off-the-books lobbying.
A secret letter? What on earth would he write in that?
It wouldn't be about the legal details. Those are already shaky. It would be entirely political. He'd be telling the officials in the capital, look, this guy Wu Song is a hero to the people here. He acted out of loyalty. Vote. If we execute him, we risk major unrest. If we punish him lightly, we show that the state values righteousness and we win over the public. He's turning it into a question of good governance.
He's making sure the central government understands that saving Wu Song is just smart politics. That's really where the power is being wielded.
And it works. The final decree that comes back from the capital is a perfect reflection of this lobbying. It separates the fates of Wu Song and Wang Po in the most extreme way you can imagine.
Let's start with Wang Po. What were her official charges?
They threw everything at her. Plotting, inducing adultery, encouraging the poisoning, and this is a key one, interfering with Wu Song's sacred memorial duties. She basically violated every rule of the social order.
And the sentence, lingering death, lingering chinding. It's one of the most brutal punishments possible.
It's the ultimate condemnation. And the description of the execution is meant to be terrifying.
Yeah.
She's put on a wooden donkey, nailed down. Prefect Chen Wenzhao himself writes the character for Slice on the order.
Wow, he's personally signing off on the violence. That execution is pure public spectacle. A message.
Absolutely. It's a moral cleansing for the community. She sacrificed to reinforce the very values that Wu Song is being celebrated for defending.
So then we turn back to our hero Wu Song. What's his final sentence after all the manipulation and lobbying?
The government acknowledges the killing, but they accept the mitigating factor that he turned himself in, Zishyam. That was the legal key. So his sentence is 40 strokes with a heavy rod, followed by exile, 2,000 laities to Mengzhu prison.
40 strokes is still pretty serious, but I have a feeling it wasn't carried out by the book.
Not even close. Because everyone respects him so much, the guards who administer the beating are incredibly lenient. The source says maybe 5 or 7 blows actually touch the flesh. He avoids the pain, but he doesn't avoid the permanent mark of the state.
The branding. That's critical, isn't it? He's branded on the face with this gold imprint, the Jinyan, and he's also given this heavy iron collar, like 10 pounds. He becomes a walking billboard for the state's power.
It's the ultimate compromise. The state says, we'll save your life, we'll spare you the pain, but we have to mark you. You belong to us now. Meanwhile, all the other helpers, Heiji Shu, Youngge, they're all let go. Their part in it is seen as totally righteous.
So Wusong, now branded and collared, gets the money from his belongings and sets off on the long road to exile with 2 guards.
And part of the story just shows how completely his heroic status has protected him. Normally, on a journey to exile, the guards would be brutal, shaking the prisoner down for money.
But not here.
Not at all. The guards know he's a brave hero, and the text says they treat him with extreme care. They're more like his bodyguards than his jailers.
He's basically in charge of his own punishment.
Pretty much. He uses his money to buy food and wine for all 3 of them at every town, and in they pass. He's turning his social capital into a comfortable road trip.
And this is not a pleasant trip. The text just paints this picture of agonizing exhaustion.
It really does. It's high summer, maybe early June, and the description is just visceral. They call it the time of the flaming sun and melting stones.
You can just feel that. So imagine being marched in chains for
20+ days in that kind of heat.
Right.
Wusong and his 2 escorts, they're not just tired. They are completely broken down.
And when you're that desperate, any sign of a break, any sign of civilization must seem like paradise.
Absolutely. So they hit a major road, and they see it in the distance.
That classic symbol, right? Little cluster of grass houses and, most importantly, a wine banner.
That little flag waving by a stream.
Yeah.
It's a beacon of hope for them.
So they're so desperate they actually stop a woodcutter to ask for directions.
And this is where the first alarm bell should probably ring. The woodcutter tells them the place is called Cross Slope. Shizipo.
Which is an infamous name.
A very infamous name. And the tavern itself is right next to this really ominous landmark.
A tree.
A massive, ancient tree. The text says 4 or 5 men couldn't even hug it.
That detail is so important, isn't it? It suggests something that's been there forever. Something with deep, dark roots.
It's not a temporary setup. This is an established institution of terror on this road.
The whole thing just screams, this is a trap.
It does. And you have to remember, this road, the Mengzudao, it's a major route. So the fact that this place can just operate openly...
It tells you everything about the state of the world they're in. The rule of law is just gone.
It's totally collapsed. You, the listener, need to get that this isn't some secret den of thieves. It's an institutional risk that the government just ignores.
And of course, hunger and exhaustion make you do stupid things.
Very stupid things. The escorts, they're so thirsty, they immediately take off Wusong's heavy wooden kang, the stock.
Which is a huge risk, even if it's just so he can eat.
And then they order this massive feast. Wine, as much as she can bring. 3 to 5 gin of meat.
Which is what, like 4 or 5 pounds of meat?
At least. And 20 to 30 huge steamed buns. I mean, they are ready to just gorge themselves.
And so the stage is set for this inevitable betrayal. They walk in, and there she is.
The proprietress.
Yeah.
And her introduction is just a masterclass in literary contradiction.
Right. She's described in these, alluring terms. She's got a green gauze shirt, a bright red silk skirt, all this heavy makeup. She's smiling, inviting them in.
She is wearing the costume of hospitality. But the text immediately exposes the lie.
So wait, if she's trying to trick them, why would the author give her away so obviously?
That is a great question. And the answer is the text is warning us, the reader. And it's showing that while the exhausted escorts don't see it, a guy like Wusong, he can see through the facade.
Oh.
And her body itself gives her away. It's described as clumsy, thick waist like an axle, rough hands and feet like clubs. She's physically the opposite of a delicate hostess.
But it's the label they give her that really seals it?
It is. She is explicitly compared to a night yaksha spirit, a yechijing.
And a yaksha is?
What, exactly?
A yaksha is a terrifying, often flesh-eating female demon from Buddhist mythology. By calling her this, the author is removing any doubt. She's not a greedy innkeeper. She is a monstrous force of chaos. She turns this place of rest into a slaughterhouse.
Precisely.
So she's offering them food, but the food is obviously the weapon. The escorts, they just start drinking immediately while they wait for the food, and then the buns arrive.
And this is the moment. This is where Wusong shows he's more than just muscle. He picks up a bun, looks at it, breaks it open.
And he delivers a line that just stops everything cold.
He looks this terrifying woman right in the eye and asks the most shocking question you can imagine.
Innkeeper, are these steamed buns made of human meat or dog meat?
Just like that.
Yeah.
He's not being subtle. He is testing her directly.
In her reaction.
She forces a laugh, tries to play the victim, saying they're ancestral yellow cow buns, trying to dismiss him.
But Wusong doubles down. He says he saw something.
Something very specific. And it's a grotesque detail, but it's meant to be undeniable proof. He tells her he saw a few strands of hair in the filling.
And not just any hair.
No. That looked, and this is a direct quote, like human pubic hair.
Ugh. That detail is designed to shock, but it also shows you his level of awareness.
His hypervigilance, yeah.
Yeah.
Despite being exhausted, he is missing nothing. And then he confirms the place's reputation by just reciting the local rumor.
The famous quote, the unofficial motto of this place.
Great tree-cross slope, who dares to pass? The fat are cut for bun filling, the lean are used to fill the river.
It's horrifying. It's not just murder, it's a business model.
An entire business model. If you're fat, you're a product. If you're skinny, you're just waste to be dumped in the river. It's industrialized horror.
So at this point, the woman knows that he knows. She has to pivot.
She does. Wu Song presses her, asks why she's running the place alone, forces her into a lie about her husband being away.
And we get to see what she's thinking.
Yes. Internally, she calls him a thief assigned criminal seeking death. To her, he's not a person. He's just a difficult piece of inventory that needs to be dealt with quickly.
She thinks she's dealing with some dumb thug.
And she's actually dealing with a battlefield general. He pushes her again, complaining the wine is weak and demanding something better.
Which is her fatal mistake.
Completely.
Yeah.
She's so arrogant, she offers him her special wine. The muddier, but more fragrant, more potent stuff.
The poison stuff.
The stuff she uses for this exact purpose. She thinks he's just sealed his own fate.
But then Wu Song lays his own trap. It's just brilliant. He insists this special wine should be served.
Hot. He says, it's best served hot.
And she is thrilled.
Oh, she's ecstatic. She thinks, the poison will work faster when it's heated. The cargo, as she calls the victim, will go down that much quicker. She thinks he's helping her.
He's using her own methods, her own expectations right against her.
It's an incredible display of intellectual cunning matching his physical strength.
So the sequence just unfolds with this awful tension.
She heats the wine, serves 3 bowls, and the 2 escorts, who are just completely consumed by their thirst at this point,
She just gulp it down.
immediately. But Wu Song, he needs a delay, so he asks for more meat.
And in that tiny window, that one moment, she turns her back.
He makes his move. He dumps his bowl of poison wine into a dark corner, wipes his mouth.
And then puts on a show, right, smacking his lips, praising the wine.
A complete performance. He pretends to have drunk every last drop.
So the trap is sprung, but the real prey is untouched. She comes back, claps her hands, and shouts the command.
Fall down, fall down.
And the escorts just collapse. The text says, heaven spinning and earth revolving, they are out cold.
And Wu Song, like a master actor, he just closes his eyes and falls in a heap. Perfectly still, fully aware.
Which leads to her big moment of arrogance, her victory speech.
It does. She laughs and says the ultimate taunt. As cunning as a ghost, you still drank my foot-washing water.
She thinks she's won.
She's absolutely sure of it. So now it's just cleanup. She calls in her 2 assistants, Little 2 and Little 3.
And they start processing the cargo. The 2 escorts are carried away easily.
And you see how professional this is. She immediately goes through their stuff, finds gold and silver, and she's thrilled.
She calculates her profit out loud.
She does. She says she has 3 pieces of cargo, and that'll mean a good 2 days of bun sales. It's purely commerce to her.
But then they hit a snag. A big snag.
A very big snag. The 2 assistants, they try to move Wu Song, and they can't.
I can't lift him at all.
Not an inch. He's rigid, straight, and the text says he feels like he weighs thousands of pounds.
So his raw physical power, even when he's pretending to be unconscious, stops them cold.
Exactly. The poison should have made him limp and easy to move. But because he's faking it, he's like a statue, immovable.
And the woman is just furious, frustrated, and she delivers maybe the most chilling line in the whole chapter.
It is profoundly dehumanizing. She's scolding her men while she's assessing the product.
She says,
this big fellow is so fat, he'd be good to sell as yellow cow meat. The 2 skinny savages can be sold as water buffalo meat.
He's been graded like livestock at a market. Fat is premium beef. Skinny is cheap buffalo. It's the absolute moral bottom.
So she decides she has to do it herself. She strips off her outer layers to get ready for the hard work.
The last thing she ever expected to have to do.
And that's the moment, the exact moment Wu Song has been waiting for. As she bends down to lift him.
He strikes.
Instantly. He locks her in his crushing embrace, pins her with his hands, clamps her with his legs. She can't move.
The reversal is total. The predator is now the prey.
And she screams. The text says it's like a pig being slaughtered.
Which is just the perfect irony.
It is. And Wu Song roars, freezing her assistants in their tracks. She is utterly, completely defeated, pinned to the ground, just begging, "Good fellow, spare me." Wusong, he's about to deliver a killing blow.
And that scene is just pure tension. The Tiger Slayer is about to execute this female innkeeper, but the whole situation just stops on a dime.
Her husband arrives, carrying a load of firewood.
And he doesn't just charge in.
No, he's a professional. He sees the scene, his wife pinned by this huge, angry man, and he diffuses it instantly. He calls for peace, tells Wusong to stay his hand, and adopts this posture of total respect. He bows and just asks for the hero's name.
This is that critical turning point, isn't it? This defines the whole outlaw society.
It does. Wusong identifies himself very clearly. He says he's Dutu Wusong, Captain Wusong, and then he adds the one piece of information that means everything.
The one who killed the tiger on Jingyang Ridge.
And the reaction is instantaneous. It's almost comical, given the violence that just happened. The man drops his guard, bows even lower, just praises Wusong effusively.
He apologizes for his wife, Sun Erniang. He says she had eyes but didn't know Mount Tai.
Right, and let's just pause on that phrase. An attempted murderer is apologizing because she failed to recognize a great hero.
It's incredible. It reveals the immense cultural power of Wusong's fame. Why does killing a tiger carry so much weight in the Xiongnu that it basically grants you diplomatic immunity from being turned into meat buns?
Because the Jianhu values raw, uncontested prowess over everything else. That tiger wasn't just some animal. It was a symbol of untamed chaos, a threat.
A monster.
To kill it with your bare hands is not just heroism. It's a confirmation of superhuman strength, courage, even a kind of divine destiny. In this world, fame comes before morality. Zhang King knows that killing Wusong would be a deep insult to the entire community of good heroes.
You just don't kill the man who killed a tiger with his fists.
You don't. He can't be treated like common prey, so his reputation is literally his shield.
So Wusong, seeing this immediate respect, agrees to stand down. He asks for their names.
And the man is Zhang King, known as Vegetable Gardener Zhang King, which is a strangely peaceful title for a killer.
And his wife.
His wife is Sun Erniang, known widely and terrifyingly as Mother Yaksha.
A Yaksha being a man-devouring demoness.
Exactly. The names tell you everything you need to know.
But Zhang King's origin story is just as shocking. He wasn't always a robber. He started out as a simple gardener at Guangming Temple.
Yes. The source details that he got into some minor dispute, a disagreement over pruning maybe.
Yeah.
And in a fit of rage, he murdered all the monks and burned the entire temple to the ground. It's an extreme jump from a minor slight to mass murder and arson.
So this brutality isn't new. It suggests an immediate, excessive response is just part of his character. How does that fit the good hero mold?
It fits because the Haohan are defined by their capacity for violence when provoked. It often exceeds the level of the provocation. Zhang King then says he was defeated by an elderly robber who became his master.
Okay.
This master taught him skills and gave him his daughter, Sun Erniang, to marry. And they decided to settle at this quiet crossroads to sell wine.
But the wine shop is just a facade. Let's get to the shocking reality of the Crosslope Inn's business model.
This is the horrifying core of the operation. They lure in travelers, especially those who look well off, and drug them with the menghanya.
With sleeping drug.
Once they're unconscious, they are butchered in a remarkably efficient manner. The sources are grimly specific here. The large, good chunks of meat are sold in nearby villages.
Passed off as what?
As high-quality yellow beef.
Oh, wow. But the small, broken pieces, the remnants, they're used for what you might call their signature dish.
Absolutely. The small, broken pieces are minced to make stuffing for their steamed buns, their mantou.
Oh.
And the sheer banality of this is what makes it stick with you. Zhang King actually takes a daily trip, carrying a shoulder pole, to hawk these human flesh buns in the village. It's an industrialized operation of turning the unlucky into baked goods.
And here's where the paradox truly begins. You have a couple running a human slaughterhouse focused on profit, yet Zhang King immediately tells Wusong they have this very specific, meticulous code of ethics about who they won't harm.
It's a fascinating inversion of morality. It's less about protecting the innocent and far more about managing their brand reputation in the outlaw community.
So he says there are 3 categories of people his wife is absolutely forbidden from drugging.
That's right, the first exception. Wandering monks and Taoists.
Why them? They're often poor and defenseless.
Zhang King sees them as ascetic. They're poor, no possessions worth mentioning, but this rule was learned through a near disaster. The almost killing of one of the greatest heroes of the era, the flower monk, Lu Zixin.
Mother Yaksha targeted him because he was, what, well-fed?
She did. She drugged him because he was large and looked profitable, despite being a monk. She'd already dragged him into the workshop when Zong King arrived.
What saved him? Was it just fate?
It was his weapon. Zong King recognized Lu Zixin's massive 60-caddy iron monk staff. He realized this was no ordinary priest.
It's a symbol of power.
It is. He immediately gives him the antidote, revives him, and instead of killing him, they become sworn brothers. Zong King even notes Lu Zixin is now a big shot at Erlong Mountain.
So the lesson wasn't about piety, it was about recognizing a rival superpower based on his gear.
Precisely. The monk's staff was more important than the monk's vows. It cemented the rule, and they only failed once. A failure Zhang King deeply regrets.
They killed a powerful head monk, who they later realized was a hero.
Yes, and what they kept shows what they valued. They took his black vestment, an iron ruler, and 2 highly prized items.
Which were?
A set of 108 prayer beads made of human skull bones.
Wow.
And a pair of battle knives forged from snowflower binti, refined steel. Zhang King says these knives sometimes hiss at midnight. He regrets the kill because he realizes he accidentally eliminated a peer.
Fascinating. So that's recognizing power through symbols. What's the second group they won't touch?
Actresses and prostitutes, the GNZ, and this is pure reputation management.
Bad press.
Exactly. These women travel everywhere. If they were harmed, their colleagues would immediately spread tales on stage and songs disgracing Zhang King and Sun Erniang, and by extension, all good heroes.
That is fantastic. They are less worried about being caught by the Emperor's troops than they are about getting a bad Yelp review from traveling performers.
It truly is. Their social contract with the outlaw world is what matters. And the third exception, the one that saved Wusong, criminals and exiles.
Because they might be heroes in disguise.
Right. Zong King reasons that many good heroes, like Wusong himself, are traveling in exile. They must not be harmed, lest they accidentally kill another potential ally.
But despite these rules, Sun Erniang still tried to kill Wusong. How did she justify that?
She was annoyed. She said she saw his heavy package and judged him to be profitable. She also claimed he spoke wind talk or flirted with her, which gave her the personal justification she needed.
But Wusong quickly clears that up. He explains he saw her watching his heavy package too closely. He suspected her from the moment he walked in.
Wusong is operating several steps ahead. He didn't just get suspicious. He engineered the whole confrontation.
He planned it.
He deliberately poured out the wine and faked being poisoned, specifically to test her and force her hand. The scuffle was his counterploy.
That's the difference between the Tiger Slayer and a common brigand. She uses poison, he uses psychological warfare.
And Zong King just bursts out laughing. He's relieved, and he's impressed. So the 3 of them retreat to the back. Wusong then asks him to release his 2 government escorts.
Right, the ones who had genuinely passed out from the poison.
Yes, and Wusong is led into the back area, the human meat workshop, and this description is the text's most unflinching moment.
It confirms the human flesh buns are not a rumor, they are the industrial reality of this inn.
And there, lying unconscious on the stripping bench,
The stripping bench.
are the 2 government escorts.
You can just picture that scene. It confirms this isn't just dark rumor, it's an active operation. Wusong is literally standing in a human abattoir, and the couple who just tried to kill him are now his allies.
Wusong then confirms his own story. He's in exile for killing the Shiman King and his own murderous sister-in-law.
And instead of being horrified, they praise him for it.
They heap praise on him. They immediately see that Wusong is exactly the kind of hero they want to be aligned with. Their common ground is a commitment to a brutal but specific sense of justice outside the law.
And this meeting becomes critically consequential.
It does. Zong King doesn't just offer friendship. He offers strategic advice. He tells Wusong he has some words for him that will lead to a major upheaval.
He says Wusong will cause great chaos in Mengzu City and stir up Enping Village.
So this roadside inn, specializing in human flesh buns, is actually the strategic nexus for a future rebellion.
Why is Zong King, the vegetable gardener, qualified to offer this kind of crucial advice?
Because the Jianghu network is vast. Yang King is at a crossroads, collecting intelligence on everyone who passes. He understands the landscape of corruption in Mengzu City better than the authorities do.
It's the ultimate payoff of the Outlaw Code. Wusong's fame saved him from the stripping bench, and now that fame grants him access to critical military strategy.
Exactly. The chapter ends on this powerful promise that Zhang King's words will help Wusong defeat great warriors later on, who he describes as the elephant-pulling, cow-dragging heroes and dragon-capturing, tiger-snaring men.